Hey guys, hello and welcome to our intermediate Pilates session. We're on our backs, shoulder bridge, warming up straight away. Bring yourselves down safely, feet flat, and let's peel the spine off. Pelvic tilt at the bottom, arch the back, flatten and lift up. Instead of bracing everything, let's start drawing that belly button gently in, those hips drawing together to front, bracing that muscle, that TVA muscle that wraps around pelvic floor muscles, gently contracted. So that's double the contraction, two contractions side to side and front to back. And they are the muscles that stop you from going to the toilet. So gentle contraction in those muscles, and they help keep everything nice and strong, and they're very important muscles, as well as that abdominal area. Don't just think of that abdominal area on its own, think of pelvic floor as well. Again, peeling the spine off, imprinting back down. Once more, imprint back down. Let's lift the hips and let's keep the hips nice and high. Let's go on to one leg, so straighten, changing sides each time. Arms can press into the floor to allow you to lift a little bit more. Straighten the leg. Lower is always easier, as we always know. So drop it a little bit if you have to. That just puts a little bit of weight onto that other leg, whereas pushing up nice and high adds a little bit more. And again, trying to get that knee straight, to get those quads contracted, to get them working. And breathing throughout. Once more on each. Resting the hips down. Bring the feet wide, knees to the opposite ankles. Bring the hands back for a little bit more, provided that's comfort in the shoulders and that stretch isn't too much in the front of the hip, but just less movement side to side if that's the case. Gently mobilizing, a nice way to get that back, gently twisting, but stretching the front of the hip each time as that knee goes down. Lengthen that arm back behind. Once more on each. And bring it back to the center. A little bit of mobility for the lower back again. So bring your right knee towards your head. Drop it off that left side like we always do. But let's stay with that side. And as you come back to the center, you're applying a little pressure with your hand. So push your hand on your knee towards the floor. Your leg on the ground can always go to the left hand side. So your left leg goes over to that left hand side a little bit for a little bit of balance, and then as you come back to the center, you're applying a little bit of resistance. You come back into the stretch, maybe slightly deeper, and again you have a little bit of push on the knee. So bring it off to the side, bring a gentle stretch, and as you come back, knee to tabletop, you are bringing that stretch. Use the muscles to go to that left hand side. So you take your hand off and let yourself go there, using the center muscles to go there, and then use that push as you come back, so they still have to work as you come back, rather than using the hand to just push yourself across. Comfortable on the back throughout. Last one, and change. So let's go with the left leg coming towards the head, drop it across, find that position that you can start in, so that position that you get that gentle stretch, and remember where that is, because that's where you're going to each time, but maybe slightly deeper. And again, hand pushes down on the knee and you come back to the center. Doesn't need to be a lot of pressure on the hand and the knee. And again, make sure the balance is okay. So that leg that's staying on the ground, that is there to balance you, because if it's not in the right position, then as you push back, it'll be a little bit trickier to get that push back. Once more. And we're getting a little bit of work into the muscles along the center that twist the body. Let's bring it back into the center. Let's lift the hips again. And from there, let's get the arms moving. We're going out and in. We're going to go back to that straightening of the leg as well. So when everything goes out, you straighten one leg. Everything comes back in. Changing legs. Try and replace the foot each time, hip width apart, in line with the hips, so the knees are in line with the hips and the feet are underneath that position. Whereas if the feet go narrow, it's a little bit easier, which is always an option if you find things too much pressure in your back. Once more on each. Let's imprint your spine back down. Pull your knees to your chest. Get a little rounding into the back, a little roundness into that lower back as you pull. Slide the feet away. Let's lie flat on our back. And what I want you to try and do is I want you to try and get your back pushing into the floor each time. So you can bring the hands back here and arch your back, lift the ribs towards the ceiling. But as the hands come back down, I want you to flatten that back, which we've often done before, but I want you to try and push your back to the floor without the rest of the body changing position. So the legs you don't bend the knees to allow that back to go to the floor. Keep the legs in position and you just move that lower spine. So arching the back, resting the abdominals, stretching the abdominals, and then flattening against. And when you flatten, I want you to push your back into the mat hard, and that really, you feel that contraction into those abdominals, you get that area working. So it's not just flattening, it's pushing as well, flat. And we get that contraction, breathe. And the next time, let's hold that position. So you're staying legs nice and long, straighten up those knees, your back is pushing into the mat, so I can feel that contraction in those abdominals. Because we're doing that, you're maintaining that position. Holding that, keeping that breath, holding that back in position and keeping the breath going. So every time you breathe out, maybe you can push that back to the floor a little bit more and get that contraction. Keep those legs nice and long. One more breath. And gently rest back down. So again, we maintain that push down. Get a little stretch in that position just to get that contraction into those abdominals. The next time we do it, we're going to get the legs moving. So from there, we're bringing our hands back down by our side. You flatten your back again. Get that contraction. And now lift one leg. Let's make sure the back stays pushing down. So constant push down of your back into the floor to keep those abdominals working. Constant brace of that abdominal wall. Breathe out, breathe in. Remember, it's one leg at a time. We will do this in a little bit with both legs off. But we'll have our shoulders up as well, and you won't be able to get the same push into the back because the balance won't be there, but the abdominals will still work plenty, as we always know, in that position. Once more on each. Again, your back is still pushing into the floor. You can re-push it in every time the foot goes back down. And from there, gently relax, get that arched position. We're going to go back to that exercise again, but we're going to curl the shoulders off. So from there, let's roll the shoulders off. Don't worry too much about the pushing the back into the floor now. The back is going to be a little bit more pushed in because the shoulders are rolled off. And lift. And let's try and switch. So one leg up, one leg down, switch. Stay previous exercise if the back comes under any pressure. So you can touch your heel down each time. Once more each side. And slowly rest it down, gently rest. Quick arch of the back, lift of the ribs, bring it back down, bend your knees towards you. And lift the hips. Let's keep our hips nice and high. And now we get the arms. We're going to stay on one leg. So the arms are going out and in again. But this time we stay on one leg. You still come back to your starting position without resting back down. Again, lower is your easier option. Or if all else fails, if you really have to, you go back to both feet on the mat. And just move the arms. Just keep yourself nice and high. That's it. That back is under any strain. Hold that position. Arms out to the side. Hovering off the ground. Not resting if you can. And that leg is lengthened. Push down on that supporting foot to get you right up nice and high. Center is strong. We're still breathing. Connecting to that pelvic floor as well. And bring that foot, bring those hands, imprint your spine, peel off, and change. So again, bring the arms out with the foot, and bring it back to the start with the legs straight. Again, keeping that foot pushing into the ground to maintain the height of the exercise. That's where everything's going to work the most. And on the next repetition, let's hold. Again, just keeping everything nice and steady, nice and stable. That hip has to work to keep you in that position. Then the center of the body has to work, the abdominals, the back muscles, everything has to work to keep yourself in a straight line. The leg has to work, lengthen it away. And rest that foot, imprint your spine, bring the hands back in. Pull the knees to the chest. Let that back relax as we always do in that position. And I want you to try and get a little bit of movement into the lower back here. So I want you to try and let the feet go from side to side. You can still hug the knees gently. And you're trying to get your hips moving. The hip, your right hip and your right rib cage come closer together. So as your feet go to the right, the hips rotate a little bit, and that lower back comes together. And changing from side to side. Keep it comfortable on that back. And you can hug the knees a little bit more and do it. A little bit of technique needed to do that, but regardless of which position, whether the knees are closer to the head or further away. And again, you can get those feet doing the movement if you want, and that will help with it. Once more each. Drop the feet, slide the feet away, and now let's go. Let's lengthen one leg and then the other. So you're trying to make one leg longer than the other. Again, the movement is here in between the hip and the ribs. You're lengthening one leg away, you're shortening the other, and we're switching all the time. Try and keep that back in position so you're in a neutral position with the hips, not completely pushed against the floor. No big arch. Then we're in the middle, as always. Comfortable, spine aligned, as if you're standing tall, only obviously we're lying on our backs. And bringing it back to neutral, still working on that area. We're reaching down along the sides of the body this time. Curl the shoulders off and now reach. Doesn't need to be a big movement. Your legs, your hips stay in position. Your lower back stays in position, and it's your shoulders that come towards the hips. Your ribs come towards your hip. Once more each side. Gently rest it down, and this time we hold our position. So curl off, go to one side and keep that position. So you're reaching down along one leg, a little bit of side bend in that side of the back, lower back comfortable, curling off all the time, slowly change, and again, reach towards the other side. If you need to support your head with your other hand, it's not reaching down along. Curling forward, keep the curl forward. Getting those obliques working a little bit more, side muscles. Slowly bring it back and gently rest. Little lift again. Not for long. Bringing it back down, and again we're going curling off, and we're going to get the legs moving again. This time we catch. So curl off, one leg on the ground. If it can always stay there, and you can switch one at a time, or if you can get both moving, do. Lower back comfortable. Sometimes the back can come under strain in this one because both legs are moving. If that's the case, don't move both legs, one leg at a time. Once more each side. And hug the knees, round the lower back. Nice big breaths. And from there, we go back to the same exercise, but this time it's a double stretch. Curl off, pull, pull. Again, comfortable on that lower back. Once more each side. And gently rest it down. Open up the inner thighs, pull the knees wide, breathe. Fill the lungs with air. And let's get a little side to side movement with the legs. So what I want you to try and do is pull one towards the head, constantly pushing wide. Pull one towards the head, and then the other one goes away. So they're going opposite directions. Changing the way those hips are stretching. Feel the difference in the hips as they change position. Bringing them back in. And again, slide the feet away. Legs are on the ground. Curl the shoulders off. Lift one leg. Lift the other leg. Legs are high. And in that position, let's drop them slightly and lift them. Easier option, don't drop. Just hold your position. And if you have to go back to tabletop, do. We know how to make things easier. At this stage, bend the knees. Even if you want to go bend the knees a little bit. And you can still move them a little bit if you want. Straight if you can though. Two more. Bend the knees. We go back to a straight leg position, and this time the arms are moving forward and back. One forward, one back. Keep yourself as steady as you can. One forward, one back. Don't let the arms move you from side to side. Keep the legs still. Hold one hand back, one hand by your side. Keep the legs as straight as you can. Curl your shoulders a little bit more. Switch the hands. Curl your shoulders. Bring both hands by your side and beat them up and down. Go back to tabletop. Take the pressure off the quads and keep the arms beating. 5 beats in is that same breath, is a breath in. Next 5 beats is that same breath out. Two more breaths. No rest. Drop the feet. Support your neck. Give the neck muscles a little breather. Slide the legs away and let's lift. Lift. Work high. Try not to drop too low. Dropping the shoulders back to the mat. Abdominals should be tired at this stage. Keep them working. Do not give in. Hold the last one. Hold it there. Take the hands forward again. Stay forward. Keep those abdominals working. And pump the arms again. Support with one hand if you need to. Keep yourself as steady as you can. And switching. Last 10 beats. 10, 9, 7. Keep working. And gently rest it down. Lift the ribs, lengthen the arms, get a breath, get a stretch. Take those abdominals out of the position that they have been in for the last while. And gently rest it down. Let's bring ourselves up. And let's bring the stretch. So one foot into the inner thigh, reach towards the toes, up and over. You can always pop yourself a little bit higher if you want, so bring your butt higher off the floor, cushion, whatever you need to allow you to touch the toes, because if you can catch the toes, you can go into that stretch. Now, from that position, let's rest the arm back down, eases that stretch, and now let's go again. And you can always use something to catch the foot as well. As always, use a band, use a piece of clothing, a towel, whatever. Towel is probably better so you don't stretch things. And each time you go up and over with the hand, try and pull on the foot to go a little bit further. And you can even come up away from the foot if you want. Two more. Last one. And get a little bit of movement into that. Really puts a bit of pressure into that quad because you have to straighten that leg to get into that position. Other side, catch and move. Nice and gentle stretch. Again, be aware of both sides, how the stretch feels. Straight away, I can feel that my left side here is a little bit tighter. I can feel it on the right back there, the lower back on that left hip is that little bit tighter when I went, especially when I go into that arm position where that arm lifts up and over. So take note of those types of tightness. And gently, let's spin it around. Let's come up. And again, we're going to work straight into, we'll get the back mobilized and then we're going to go into those hips Again, a little bit more towards the outside. So mobilize the back. Let's just do a couple of repetitions. Once more. And let's bring the stretch. Lift high. We're going into our glute stretch where the foot comes across the body and we come down into the stretch. Stretch is on the outside of the hip, the glute max muscle, which is the big max, means same leg each time. Glute max means the biggest of the muscles. And let's try and lift the leg when you come back to center. So now we get a stretch in your supporting leg each time. You don't have to lift that leg, but we aim to do it if we can. Breathe in as you stretch. Breathe out as you push back up and come back down. Every time you get a stretch. So take the weight off the wrists every time you come down. You're resting down. You can even take those hands off the floor if you want, and then that puts the weight into that hip. Once more, and at the top let's switch. So lift the other leg off. Make sure that stretch for the first rep. Make sure you're in the right position. Foot is towards the outside of the mat. Your knee is in front of you, although if that knee changes position, it's okay as long as you get the stretch. You can have the knee further over to the other side of the mat. So your foot's on one side, your knee is on the other side, and then you come down. That's perfectly fine, as long as you can get that stretch. And again, try and get that stretch into your supporting leg each time. Last one. And gently out. Let's mobilize the back again. So round it up. Opposite way. Once more. We'll come down into our elbows. So from there, let's bring the hips down in line, and we're going to bring a little bit of a twist. So turn the hips. Now, I'm doing it on the knees to begin with. You can stay there if you want, but intermediate level we want to lift. So let's lift, and now let's twist the center of the body. The hips are turning. Shoulders stay in position as the rest of the body spins. In a straight line. Let's not lean left and right. That's the next exercise. We will go to that one in a second. So stay in the center of your mat. The more you turn, the more it comes up towards those shoulders, and you get that bigger movement up towards the shoulders. So get as much movement as you can comfortably. Once more, each side. Back center. Rest the knees. Sit back. Get a breath. Again, we are going to do your hips now are going to go almost in the shape of an arc, in the shape of a bridge from side to side. So you're trying to go low to the mat at each side, and then in the center, the hips go up. So there's the middle of the bridge. So again, lift, drop the hips to one side, back up, and drop them to the other. Keep it nice and slow, controlled. I'm touching my hip off the ground on either side. That does not mean you have to go there. You go at less movement if you have to. Maybe it's only minimal. Maybe you can only get a small amount of movement. You work to your level. Once more. Breathing. Rest it down. Sit back. Quick stretch. Get the air into the body. And let's come down flat into our back extension. Hands by your side, and let's lift the shoulders up above the hips. Next time you lift, hold the lift. The hands are going to come to try and meet the foot. So that means your palms are facing in, you're lifting them nice and high, they don't have to touch that foot, and you bend your knee. Changing sides. You're trying to get your hands up and towards that foot. There's going to be a restriction there where you may not be able to get the shoulders to get into that position. That's fine. We're only trying to bring it in that direction, however far you can. So lift the arms and try and touch. And it's okay if only one hand touches, because obviously one leg is coming up on that side. So left hand, left foot. You're just bringing the hands towards the foot as much as you can. Gently rest it down. Same exercise now, but we try and keep the hands in position and we keep the legs moving. So everything is lifted, lift, and now bend, bend. Now keep the hands, get them moving. One front, one back, one bent, one straight if you can. Arms still pressing. Up, together. Breathe. Straightening that knee, keeping the lift. Knees can stay down if you have to, always an easier option. Once more each with the foot. Straighten and gently rest it down. Let those shoulders relax. Bring the arms to the front. And again we will lift off. Again, the arms are going out to the side as you lift and lower the legs. So we start with the arms in that position. Lift. And as you, let's go with both knees this time. So both knees bend and bringing the arms out. Hold the arms out, keep the legs moving. Next time, bend the knees, keep them there, keep the arms moving. Bracing that center, keeping those back muscles comfortable, or rather working those back muscles, but keeping the joints in that lower back especially comfortable, all the back, but mainly that lower back. Once more, and gently rest it down. Get a breath. One last time we will lift, and this time we are in a start position. We hold our start position, and we will lift 10 little repetitions where you lift a little bit higher. Let's try not to drop it down too much. Lift. Out to the side more if you need to, further forward if you can. Feet a little bit wider, and let's lift. 1. Don't drop down. 2. 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out as you lift, breathe in as you slowly come down, and it's only a fraction. 9, 10, and gently rest it down. Let's get the stretch again. Push back, sit back, let that back relax. And we're going to get a little rotation into the spine now after that last exercise. So let's bring it up. Let's straighten your left leg back. We start with the upper spine, right arm, and let's twist. Let's get our spinal twists, our T-spine rotation, as we call it, because your thoracic spine is rotating. So thoracic spine is T-spine. Once more. So that upper back gets a little bit of twist, and it goes a little bit into the down towards the lower back, depending on how much you turn, how much your mobility will allow. And be careful with the next one. The shoulders have more mobility to turn, but more importantly, we usually turn them more throughout the day. They're a lot more freer to turn usually. And rest it down. From there, we'll drop to the elbows and we lift. And now lift your right leg up, but bring it up and over to the left hand side. So the hips are not staying square. So here my hips are square. The hip bones here at the front of the hip. Okay, they're staying square. Now we need to lift our right hip bone up and over away to the other side. And let's change each side this time. So be careful with this one now, because the back is twisting, the lower back is twisting. So this is more lumbar spine, lower back. And that's not used to twisting as much as the upper back. So the mobility isn't there to twist big movements. Tightness in the hips is going to restrict it big time. Tightness in your hip flexor, especially here. So try and get that lift of one hip up above the other. And try not to lean too much to the side, so when your left leg lifts high and you bring it over to that opposite side, to that right side, try not to let your whole body go there. Let's try and keep your hip above your knee of the supporting leg as you do it. Thereabouts. Keep it steady. Once more each side. Again, mobilizing that back. Bring it back up. Straight arm position. Let's lift the knees and let's go into a straight leg position. And we're bringing one knee forward. So bring the knee forward, go left with it, go right with it, bring it center and straighten it again. Your aim is to stay in your plank position all the time. If you want, you can go back up into your stretch after one repetition on each side. So do a rep on each side and then come back down. But we try and stay left, right. Now let's keep our plank position for this one. So your knee goes left and right without your body moving. The next time we do it, we're going to try and move the body more. So we're going to try and move that center of the body. Last one on each side. Let's drop it down. Take the pressure off the wrist so you can get a little bit of movement. So this time when we do it, I want you to try and get a little bit more center movement in the center of the body. So that as you come forward, you're getting your knee across the body and you're twisting your body a little bit more. It goes to the other side and then you come back to center. That's going to be a lot tougher, even if you can only get a little bit of movement. All right, so you're swiveling on it each time. Upper body will come under more pressure. Again, maybe one repetition each side, take the weight off, get a breath in that stretch and then go again without resting down. Back up nice and high again. It's a tough exercise to do. Once more on each. And gently rest it down. Give those arms a breather. The bigger the movement you go there, the shoulders, arms really have to work. Take a little breather, get a breath into the body. Nice big breaths. We're going to do that position to finish off. So we're going to stay with that exercise to finish it off, but we are going to hold each position. Okay, you can take a quick breather back up into your stretch if you need to each time, but let's try and stay in each position for a little bit longer. So lift, let's start in the stretch. Push the heels down into the floor, get that release. Bring the hips back down, come back to your plank at any stage if you have to, but let's try and keep working. Drop the hips. Bring the knee forward. Bring the knee outside the body. Maybe you can twist a little bit. Breathe. Bring it across to the other side. So everything's going a little bit slower. Bring it back to the center. That doesn't mean rest down. Straighten the leg. Maybe this is where you go high into your stretch just for a quick breather off the arms. Other leg comes forward, but join back in straight away. Bring that knee outside the mat. How much? Maybe you can only go a couple of centimeters. Bring it across to the other side. That's a little bit tougher on those shoulders if you get that knee right across the body. Bring it back to the center. You're still not done. If that knee pops down, bring it back up again, back to your plank, finishing your plank. Maybe pop up into that stretch, but let's finish in our plank, drop it, and hold that plank. If the wrists are under strain, let's drop it to the elbows if you have to, and stay there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Come back up if you've fallen down. 3, 2, 1, and rest it down. Get your breaths into your body. Let's recoup the oxygen, the air that we have used up. Find a comfortable position and get the breaths into the body. Fill the lungs. And let's get a stretch. Let's go into our shoulder stretch, one side, so chest mainly. Bring the shoulder to one side, straighten up that arm, and push it to the floor. And spin to the front. So shoulder pushes down. And you can always drop to the elbow on that other arm that's not being stretched if you want. That might be more comfortable, less awkward. You can almost rest down in that position if you want. And open up the chest. And change. And gently bring one knee on the mat, other one out in front, and we're coming up and over. So you lean gently forward first, feel the stretch into the hip flexor. Bring your arm on the side that you're stretching, whichever knee is on the floor, bring a straight line all the ways up and bring it off over. If you want, you can bring that foot a little bit more to the side and bring it, catch, and bring that stretch down towards the top of the hip. So a little bit front of the hip, depending on your position, but outside of the hip as well, and down along the side of the back. So I'm getting that right to the top of my glutes, where the glutes insert down to the right into the top of the hip on the outside. Just keep the back comfortable as you bend to that side. And gently rest it down, change sides. Other foot out in front, again you're going to that other side. And again, I can feel that tightness here a little bit more. I can feel it up along here a little bit more compared to my right hand side. So again, take note of those differences if there is any. Feel where you can feel that extra tightness. That's the area, there are areas that you can work on strengthening and lengthening a little bit more. And gently back up. Let's stretch the arm across the body to finish off. So pull on that shoulder. And switch the arm. Again, important stretch for the shoulder. I like to finish off with that shoulder stretch because of the importance of the muscles that it stretches. Very important to keep them nice and loose. So if the shoulder's a little bit tight, this is usually a good one, as well as that chest. The chest one to stretch that area as well. Okay guys, shake out the arms. Alright guys, well done. Another session down. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.